So, hey, this video, I'm going to actually talk about homework one during today's lecture, but I want to just give some idea about what is homework assignment number one and what to do with that. Okay, so let's actually start it to go to the announcement. If you go to the announcement, there's homework one. And then there is this GitHub link. Okay, so let me check. Good. Okay, so under this GitHub link, as always, try to download as a zip. Okay, so now you can see that I download this CPP2 my break heal diff. Okay, so now I'm actually going to turn on my window. Okay, the link is under the announcement when I announce homework assignment number one, and that is I didn't provide anything else but the link. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Code and download. This is like instead of downloading the visual file, zip is basically download everything. Yeah, I'll be good. Okay, so I'm actually going to I'm going to make a CD to this directory called GitHub. Okay, so you can see that I'm actually currently under the directory called GitHub, and there's nothing there. You guys can see my screen, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Remote student, any question? Yurang and Cameron? Okay, and Michelle, if you have any question, just let me know. Okay, so the thing is, let me do this. Let me move the file. CPP02. You can see that this is a file I just downloaded. I move it over here. I mean, that's not absolutely necessary, but I usually just move it. So then I unzip it. Okay, now you can see that it's create a directory called CPP my break diff name. Okay, so now I just change CD to that directory. Now you can see that I have all the file, which is including 3 source code. This is, by the way, homework assignment number one is in C, not in C++. So I have a 3C program. And then I have the document, which describes the homework itself. And then I have a makefile and readme. Okay, let's actually try to see if you have installed all the tool like a GCC, G++, or makefiles successfully, then all you need to do at this moment is just type make. You can see that when I type make, it start to compile and then start to run the program. So it basically makefile help us to build the executable of the program. So you can see that I have actually created. Let me actually just do this again. If I do make clean, I basically kill everything. I have a clean rule, which I will explain to you the makefile. You have to look at the makefile to see why I can type like a make clean and make and things like that. But if you, sure.
Following on terminal, because I have VS Code, so I don't know if I should follow you on with the terminal.
Okay, I will say at the beginning using terminal. Okay. Because if you want to use VS Code, there is one extra step you need to do. So I typically use VS Code only for editing, but the build environment in the VS Code sometimes is kind of hassle. And then but the terminal is universally, that's always available there. So that's why I kind of use the terminal for most of my development. Especially when I try to run stuff, I have to use the terminal. Okay. All right, any other question? All right, So you can see that now I cleaned that. So this is original. You see that I only have 6 file here, 3.c file, 1 make file, and 2 document. Okay, I've only, so I'm going to type in make. When I do make, you can see that now I have a bunch of extra file. I have, for example, previously I only have my div.c. Now I have my div.c still there, but I have my div.o. .o stands for object code. And then I have executable code, which is my div. Okay, so I create a bunch of file so I can execute. For example, I want to do my break. So I just type my break. Now I'm going to execute this program because this is executable. Okay, when I type it, it gives me a message saying that, hey, I only provide 1 argument, argc. That's actually, hopefully you still remember from your ecs36a. Basically say my break will need to take a 3 argument. The first argument is the file I try to break, and I need to generate a bunch of chunks. And what should be the prefix of the chunk? And what should be the size of each chunk? So now I have to explain the concept a little bit. What do I mean? What is my break is trying to do? So my break is, what my break is trying to do is that I have a large file. I want to break it into smaller chunk to do whatever I want. And then for each of the chunk, that what's the size? Okay, let me give you an example. The terminology chunk is was, I believe, was initially from what we call Google file system. So Google need to store a huge amount of file. And the thing is that, think about you have a movie, like a YouTube, you have a movie about, say, 16 gigabyte. 16 gigabyte, by the way, is not the biggest movie. Okay, they're much, much bigger this day. So if you have a 16 gigabyte movie, where do you think Google store that file, 16 gigabyte? 2 options. One option, I actually store that 16 gigabyte in one location, in one particular hard disk in, say, Palo Alto. The other option, I actually break this 16 gigabyte into 16 1 gigabyte file and store in San Jose, Palo Alto, Sacramento, and I basically distribute. But when I need to pull it together, I actually get it from the 16 different places, and I somewhat heal them back together. So that's basically the concept. So my break and my heal is a tool that you can actually facilitate the process. I break the file into different parts, and then the other program is try to heal the back. Okay. All right. So let me show you a demo how my break will work. Let me see if I have any movie I want to show you. Okay. Let me see. Okay. No, this one doesn't have it.
Was the generative thing kind of like ChatGPT?
Yeah, it's a large language model. Yeah, you're trying to get a bigger one. I'm trying to look for. Want to look for my. Ah, here. I found it. Ah, okay. I actually have a file here, which I want to find something big. That's why I kind of look for use this particular file. This I will do 16. Yeah.
I have like the CD and then the name of the file, but when I do a /my break, it says like no file or directory.
Have you typed make? After you do CD, you should type
Oh.
make.
Okay.
Try it now. Yeah. CD that direct make. See if my break was generated. Make is a tool. It basically help you to put several commands together and to be able to generate an executable file. So that's one thing, automate the process about develop some executable. Furthermore, make file will help you to decide what's the necessary action you need to take because it's going to check the timestamp about your file. So decide when was the last time you modified this file and decide. So make is really try to help as a software developer to do that. Okay. Okay, so you can see this tool. I just pulled out a file, which is the I use Llama 16-bit model. This file is about 13 gigabyte. Okay, so I'm going to copy this file over here. CP. Oh, that's a huge file. Let me just copy over here so I can break it. I probably should break a smaller file, okay, but anyway. Okay, let's take a while. While I'm actually copy a 13 gigabyte file from my hard drive to my hard drive, any question at this moment? Have you all be able to, or including remote student, have you ever be able to download the zip file, unzip it, change to that directory, and type make to be able to generate my break? Okay, okay, good. Any question from remote? Okay, so it's done. You can see that I'm actually here. And then now I have this huge file over here. So I'm going to run my break. So my break. It's capital. So the first parameter is the source. So the source is going to be GGML, which is the file 13 gigabyte I tried to break. The prefix, I will just call it ecs36b prefix. By the way, you can choose anything you want. Okay, I'm just type the break. And then the size of the chunk is going to be whatever number you put in k byte. So I'm actually going to do, let me see, what is, I keep forgetting the number because the 13 gigabyte is pretty big. I want to make a bigger chunk. Where is my terminal? Calculator. Okay, 1024 times 1024. Okay, is that too big? Okay, 1048576. So I'm going to type this number. The chunk size is 10,104,8,576 kbyte. Okay, so that means this is 1 gigabyte. So I'm actually using this program to break things into one chunk is 1 gigabyte. So I'm going to do that. It should probably have a 13 or 14 chunks because it's a 13 gigabyte. So it's going to give me about 13 or 14 gigabyte. Yeah.
Right now, file cannot be opened by trying to.
You have to find your own like 16 or 13 gigabyte file.
You can find any file. because the file is on my hard drive. So you obviously you don't have that file.
Oh, design.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, pick your favorite movie. If you have a movie file of 4 GB, that's a perfect size.
No, it's just copying chunks. It's not like actually getting rid of the original file.
Not getting an original. Yeah, the original is still there. Yeah. Okay, so you can see that it totally has about 13 chunks.
Break the file into 13 chunks.
Right. Right. So take a look at the size. LS minus L is actually for you to see the chunks. You can see that the first chunk is a 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 12. So the 13 chunks. You can see that each of the chunk is the size of the chunk is about 1 GB. Okay, so this is a 1 GB, and then the last chunk is the residual, whatever file left. So that's now I actually convert the 13 GB chunk, the file into whatever chunks. Okay, so let me actually show you another example. I'm actually going to do it differently. I'm breaking the same chunk, but I'm actually using another instead of prefix. But I'm actually going to make it a little bit smaller. Where's my calculator? I'm going to make it is 1024 times 128. So this is going to be a smaller chunk size of 131072. 13. Okay, that's the chunk size. This will generate a lot more chunks because the size of each chunk is much smaller. I'm going to kill it because I don't want this to finish. But now you can see that the chunk size is about 8 times smaller than the original one. So meaning that it's going to generate a much bigger number of chunks. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea about how to break the file. Okay, so now the original design of a homework assignment number 1 is that, well, you know the idea about break. I want you to actually think about how to heal the back. How do you actually, if I give you all the chunks, like in this case, how do you write the program to heal the back, to put back into the original file? And the thing is that you might actually think, oh, this could be difficult because it's a big file, it's a big program. Let me see how many lines of code I have. So it's not that big. It's about 92 lines of code. Okay, 92 lines of code. And how do I actually write the code? The thing is that I asked you to do the first homework assignment is not just for you to refresh what you should have learned from the previous course, but also more importantly, to actually see that when you have the concept, heal and break, they're actually just going the opposite direction exactly. So what you need to do is actually take a look at how the program was breaking it and just reverse the process. And the thing is that, let me actually show you the solution. If you take a look at the difference between my break.c and my heal.c, you see that there is not much difference. This is the result. Let me actually put it into a file. This is diff is another tool to help you to actually see what's the difference between these two. So if you do more EEE, you will see that This is just a comment. It doesn't count. You can see that the file between these two programs, 92 lines of code, they're actually quite similar. The difference is quite similar. Is because it's going one direction. For example, this line of code is read, please come in, please come in. Now I change it to write, okay? Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about homework assignment number 1, okay? And it's recorded, don't worry, and it's recording right now. Okay, so if you look at the have a seat, yeah, grab your chair and you can sit here anywhere you want. The video actually tried to go through the code and tell you how to reverse the process. But I want to at least right now to show you how to heal the back using the program. Okay, if you've done things correctly, you're going to do this my heal, right? This is my heal program. And my heal program actually take source, prefix, chunk size, and whatever chunks. But the source over here is a little bit misleading. The source should be the destination target when you regenerate what you should have. So I'm going to say GGG is the source because I want to heal back to that. And then the prefix is going to be ecs36b prefix. And the chunk size, what was the chunk size? It's 1 gigabyte, right? Times 1024. I just cannot remember what that number is. Okay, this is the number 1048, 576. And the last argument is a new argument. How many chunks? 13, right? Okay, so I will run this program. So now you can see that it's actually trying to put the file together by reading through every single chunks. Yeah, you can pick any file you want. Okay, make a copy, pick a file any bigger than 1 megabyte, because if you want to pick a 1 megabyte file, then you can actually just essentially make a chunk to be 1 KB or something.
Go from the WSL to C.
Yeah, you can go to C. Remember, I told you you can do ls/mmtc, and then you can actually go to whatever your C drive and pick any movie you want.
When you're like writing a file name, can you just this is stupid, but can you just write the file like name that it shows, or do you have to like find the directory like via terminal? Like, how do you insert like a file name is my question.
You try to find where the file you want to do to break, right? So this program, when finished, I will tell you how to access. I mean, if I understand your question correctly, you try to access a particular file on your hard drive, right? Okay, I'll show you. Okay, so now it's done. Okay, so let's see. I mean, how do I know the GGG is actually the same as original file? Okay, so you can see that the GGG is actually this much byte. And then if you look at the original file, the original Llama 2 model F16-bit, 7 billion parameter is exactly the same. Okay, so at least the size of the file looks correct, right? Okay, I regenerate, but to know that whether these two files are byte by byte equivalent, we use the tool called diff. Okay, so if I do diff, ggml, and then ggg, if I do diff, if there is a difference, it will print out the difference. But if there is no difference, then there's nothing will be coming out. So let's see, it's comparing 13 gigabyte file. So
wait, because this is like a movie, if you click on a file, will it play like just that tiny portion, or no?
no, you cannot. It has to be file. But there are tricks to do what you want to do.
Wait, so what is the file you put in? I thought it was like a film or something.
It's not it's a large language model. I don't know if you heard about the term LLM. ChatGPT and a bunch of this equivalent technology, they all have to use the core of the whole this kind of generative AI type of thing. They're all based on something called large language model called LLM. So ChatGPT need to use an LLM and then the rest. So I happen to use the smallest LLM that Facebook provide. Llama, yeah. And Llama has about 3 different models, 7 billion, 13 billion, and 70 billion. So in this example, I'm using the smallest one, which is 13 gigabyte, which is 7 billion. Yeah.
Is that reaching out to the internet to pull that information, or is it on your system?
No, I'm on my local, everything on my local. Yeah. I could actually pull out the remotely as well. So the local file system is whatever file system Mac or Linux provide. But when you go to take a upper division course, such as operating system, it start to teach you concept like a remote file system, or in Google file system's case, is actually distributed file system. So virtually the file is on the hard drive connected to the internet, but virtually you're actually treated as a local file. Yeah. So there is a lot of interesting trick you can play with the file system when across the internet. Yeah. Oh, you really compare bit by bit for 13 gigabyte. Yeah, it took a while. For that small computer, that's, yeah. Okay, while it's doing anything, let me actually, you're in the shooty, right? Yeah, so let me show you how you can access the file, okay? So I just pick, let me pick, okay, so assuming I'm in this directory, okay? And I want to access to a movie, for example, okay? So in Unix, let me see. I can say, what's my root directory? Oh my goodness. Do I have any movie? Oh yeah, I do have movie. CD. You see that I have way too many files. I'm sorry about that. You see that I actually have a directory under my root directory. There's a desktop. Under desktop, I have a directory called personal. Under personal, I have a directory called music. And under music, I have a directory called MP4. Okay. And I can actually take a look at my file, personal file. Sorry, you will now see my personal taste about music. So under here, music, MP3, MP4, right? So I can using the whatever the GUI to access, but I can using a terminal to access, right? So I can do ls minus L. This is all. Wait a minute. Sorry, I have to do ls minus L. This is basically all my movie file. Okay, you can see that this is the size of the file. Let me just pick one of them. We pick the one that's actually not too horrible. Okay, Celine Dion. That sounds good. Okay. Oh, this have all kind of different character. Let me pick a bigger one. Fine. I'll pick this one. Let me go back here. Oh, it's done. Okay, you can see that the diff is done, right? diff is done, there's no difference. Let me just show you that diff could be hugely different. If I do diff, my break, and my heel, it will say binary file because it's not like a text file. It's a binary file. It says these two files are different to each other. Okay, you see the different result when I do this, the diff between the original file and the file I healed back. There's no difference, but I actually picked two different executable file. It says no, they're different. Okay. All right, so now I want to pull out the file I just did. Okay, so I know the file is over here. You see that? This is a file, right? So I can actually take a look at this file. This file is this size. So I can actually directly break using this one. Let me directly break this one. I would say dot my break. That's the source file, the first directory. The second one is a prefix. I call Celine. That's my prefix. And then the chunk size, I make it 1024, so it means 1 megabyte. Okay, so now you can see that I break that particular file, Beauty and the Beast, into, oh, again, 13. I'm just lucky, okay, 13 chunks.
Like a coincidence or like was it intended?
No, not intended, coincidence, yeah. Let me remove all the earlier chunk, okay, I don't need this. My hard disk is actually not so big, so let me remove all the unnecessary file. Let me remove GGG. I want to remove that language model as well. Okay, so now you can see that each of this is 1 megabyte, and the last chunk is only 17. Okay, so I want you guys, does that answer your question, Shruti?
Kind of. I was just asking like terminal things, like how do you, like if you find a file on desktop, like how do you like insert the name of it into like the terminal?
Okay, so if you find a file, okay, so give me an example, what file you found on your desktop?
I found this like a photo on my desktop.
Okay. Can you bring your computer here? I want to, I won't record it or share it, but I want to. Okay, so you can see that this file is under your directory called desktop, right? So in order for you to access that file from your terminal, sorry, can I have a terminal?
Yeah. Oh, that's yours.
Okay,
Yeah, just yeah, there.
okay. So you say ls tilde desktop, and what was the name of the file?
It started with the DSC.
Capital?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's multiple of them. Which
Okay,
one?
anything is good. They're all like
Okay, 024. So now you can see that I just say ls, whatever.
Mhm.
And if you want to break it, you can say my break, capital.
Mhm.
And then I would say tilde desktop DSC 024, whatever. This is a file.
Okay.
And then the prefix, I just say EE, okay? And then I'm actually gonna break 1K by chunk, really, maybe 4K, okay? So that's very small, right? So now you can see that I actually break, that's a lot. You can see that each of the chunk is 4K byte, and I break about 98
Okay.
chunks, okay?
Okay.
So now you know how to access VLAN. Okay, all right.
For file one.
What?
Wait, could you also demonstrate the same thing? on my.
Sure, sure. Sure. Sure, you have to come over here and for example, how about I use this
Yeah, you
one?
can use that image.
Okay. Oh, this is my terminal, not your terminal. Okay. So ls/desktop, okay? You can see that you have a bunch of files here, right?
Yeah.
Let me actually just do a ls-l. I'll pick the biggest one, img, okay?
Sure.
So I will just say my break. Tilde/desktop img. Okay, and then I'm going to say the prefix is e3. And let me put each of the 16K byte. Okay.
Wait, what does like the prefix mean? Like
Prefix is I want to generate the chunk, right? I need to give a name. That's why prefix is what is. You can see that the prefix, I'll show you when you generate. You see that? The chunk is always start with EE. Whatever, I just put it in.
Like, so you can type whatever name you want.
You can put whatever,
Is
right?
it like an array or something?
No, it doesn't have to be, no, it's not array. It's just a name for you to name your chunks.
I see.
I'm breaking, so now you can see that
37
actually.
chunks.
Yeah, 37 chunk. No, 97. Not
Oh.
97 chunk because that image is not that small. So I'm going to heal the back. And then,
Does it feel like put back the chunks together?
right, I will just call it GGG when I put it back, and the prefix is EE, right?
Yeah.
The chunk size, what was the chunk size?
It was like 97.
No, the
Oh.
size 16, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever, 98. Failed to open. Okay, so I make a mistake. Sorry. 97. Let me see what was the chunk size, okay? 16, yeah. It's not 98, 97, right?
Yeah.
Because it realized the last chunk. Okay, now you see that it generates GGG. Okay, going through all this chunk. And then I would just say div desktop. What was the file? Image something,
Yeah, it was
and
like-
the GGG, they're the same. Okay, so that's a program it's supposed to do. So just let you know, for before this quarter, when I assigned this homework to the student, I only gave them my break. I didn't give them my heel. So they need to figure out how to use my break and modify a few lines to be able to do my heel. So that means you have to understand what my break.c was. And so you know how to modify my break.c become my heel. So the video I share was go through the code of my break.c line by line, essentially. Yeah, I mean, that is, of course, try to enhance your knowledge about C, but also to show you how you can actually understand a piece of code, tweaking here and there. You can get things to do the work you want. Okay. All right.
The assignment was just to like use my break to make my heel. Because I thought it was like write my break and not look at
You can actually write my heel without looking at my break.
Okay.
But the I want you to kind of learn sometimes you can do things smart by looking at somebody else's code,
Yeah.
and try to see how you can do that. So now I give you both my break and my heel, and then you can actually take a look at that. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop recording because my office hour is done. I need to prepare for the class. Okay.
Okay, thank
And
you.
I will, of course.